For more exclusive content from CNBC Crypto Trader, hit the subscribe button now. As the crypto community descended on South Korea for Deconomy 2019, the markets went on a tear, with Bitcoin climbing from $4,000 to $5,000 in just a matter of hours. Alts followed suit and drove the market to highs seen last in November 2018. But is this run real? And if it is, what caused this run? Could it have been the April Fool's article that was published by Finance Magnet that claimed that the SEC had, get this, convened over a weekend and approved not one, but two Bitcoin ETFs? Could it have been a $100 million order that was spread across multiple exchanges? Was it the ICO guidelines that were published by the SEC, or was it something to do with the charts? Tonight, we ask all the important questions right here on the only channel that helps you make money trading crypto. So stay tuned for this week's episode of Crypto Trader right here on CNBC.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
With Bitcoin now trading firmly over the $5,000 mark, most traders are asking whether we've seen the end of the crypto winter. Tonight, right here on Crypto Trader, we're going to be talking to a panel of experts to find out whether they think this bounce is real or whether it's just another bear trap. We're going to be starting off with Vinny Lingham all the way in San Diego. Vinny, good to have you back on the show. Vinny, do you believe this bounce?
I'm not buying any bounce right now that doesn't go to around 6,200 and stays there for at least, I'd say 24 to 48 hours as being the end of the bear market cycle. If you look at bear market cycles in Bitcoin, typically the bottom is dictated by a 2x rise. So the bottom so far we saw is 3,100. So 6,200 is where you can start saying it's going into a bull market, or at least the bear market's over. Until we break 6,200, I don't think it's fair to say the bear market's over.
Why 6,200? Where are you getting this level from? Talk me through the logic.
So typically at the bottom of all the bear market cycles, it can bounce and move quite a lot, right? So there's a lot of lateral movement for a while until it gets 2x the bottom. If you look at the historical charts, roughly 2x is when the sentiment is shown to be changed. And then we're in an upward momentum.
So Vinny, do you think that the worst is over and that we've seen the end of the bear market? Or is there a chance that we'll go back to the 3,000 level?
There's absolutely a chance we can go below $3,000. I don't think the bear market cycle is necessarily over. And what I'm saying is I'll be convinced that it's over once we get above the 6,200 level. So that's a critical level. And so there's two critical levels. There's 5,700, which was the previous so-called bottom of the market, which broke. And then 6,200, which is double what we have is a bottom right now, which is apparently 3,100. So those are the two critical numbers. When we get past 6,200, I think it's all clear, reasonably clear at least.
Vinny, what do you think caused this bounce? There have been a few theories out there. One is that the Finance Magnet article, the April Fool's article, that the SEC had approved two Bitcoin ETFs may have caused the bounce. Another is that there was a big order for $100 million, which was spread across multiple exchanges. There's another one that Gabor Gurbax published, and he said that this was all caused as a result of a Bitcoin short squeeze, which was triggered by the futures close. Which of those theories sounds most plausible to you?
I think the $100 million order book spread is the one that makes the most sense to me from the data I've looked at. I think there's always lots of compounding factors, right? Someone comes in, does a large buy, there's some momentum, everyone jumps in. But I think, I still think we're going to be in a bit of a sideways market for a while. And until we get past, the 57 to 6,200 range, I think we're going to be stuck in kind of a purgatory. Who knows what the reasons are, but I don't think this bounce. I'm not buying this bounce right now. It just seems manufactured at best.
Vinny, do you think there's any chance that it could have been that Finance Magnet April Fool's article that caused this run?
No, I don't think so. I mean, in a bear market cycle, news doesn't move the market much. Okay, when you're in a bear market, that's just the reality. News is like water in a duck's back. So I'm not buying it. I think there was a mechanical change in the market. I think there was definitely some money coming in. Remember, Bitcoin buying and selling transactions aren't perfect, right? It's not like if we have $300-400 million worth of demand every month, it doesn't mean it comes in at exactly 10 million a day or 15 million a day evenly. So it's chunky. So you could have a situation where there was some demand that was pent up and there was a chunk of money that came in and bought it and that raised the price. But now the question is, do we return to the mean or not? And if we do, then there's going to be a deficit in buying for a period of time to even it out.
Vinny, the coins that have led the way in this run have been the altcoins. Coins like Litecoin, which has doubled over the past few days. Bitcoin Cash also doubled over the past few days. If you were putting money in the market now, where would you put it?
Look, I mean, obviously I'm a general partner in Multicoin. We've got a over $100 million fund, and we've been pretty vocal about coins like Binance, for example. We put out a report on BNB. But I think generally we've been one of the better performing funds because we've been largely market neutral in a bear market. So we'll take some certain long positions like BNB, and we'll match it with some short positions on other crypto. And what you find in these markets, when the market's trying to find an equilibrium point for Bitcoin, certain coins may move at a higher rate than Bitcoin, either up or down. And so Bitcoin is the kind of the bellwether of the crypto market. And so it is, if you're chasing good returns and you're chasing alpha, you may want to be, long on certain coins, but then, short or neutral the overall market to try and get, good returns out of it. And that's just the position we play. So I think there are obviously good coins out there that you could be buying and that do look cheap. And when things look cheap, they generally, they tend to be cheap. And so, it's often a case of how are you balancing your longs and short positions in the market?
Well, speaking of BNB, our next guest is the CEO of Binance, and we're going to be crossing to Seoul in South Korea to speak to CZ. CZ, it's so good to see you again, and I think the biggest news of the week is not the bull run, but the fact that you made peace with the block.
We never really had any issue. We just, I just said, well, I typically don't get into debates on Twitter, so I just dropped it, that's all.
Yeah, let's talk about the big news of the week, and that's of course the Bitcoin bounce. CZ, you've been bullish for quite a while now. Do you believe that this crypto bounce is real?
So yeah, I think a lot of people call me the most bullish people in the industry, but I don't know what happened to the most recent pump. But I guess the result shows that basically the fact that the price can go up so quickly means that there were actually a lot of money waiting to buy Bitcoin. And they were really fearing of missing out, the FOMO mentality. So the fact that the price can go up so quickly means all those money were ready, which basically means that people still have a lot of confidence in this industry. So it's not like everyone's scared away, stuff like that.
CZ, you're very close to action being at Binance, and you're actually seeing cash flows into the market. Did you see large volumes of actual new US dollars coming into the exchange over the last few days?
I think yes, we definitely do see we see more stablecoin deposits in the last few days for sure. And not only that, the trading volume of per transaction, the number of transactions, the number of orders people are submitting is at an all-time high. We're actually seeing more orders than January 2018. It's just that now the Bitcoin price is a little bit lower, so the total trading volume in US dollars seems lower. But we're actually seeing trading volume-wise, system load-wise, we're at all-time high. And user registrations are jumped as well. So all the indications are things are going up. Every number, every indication we have, or every piece of data we have is going up right now.
So what you're saying is an increase in trading volume, an increase in new user accounts. It does sound really bullish. Do you think that the new user accounts are there because of the spike? Or has there been an undercurrent of new signups in the lead up to the spike?
To be honest, there was a little bit of a warming up even before the spike. Even like 1 or 2 months ago, the speed of registrations were picking up. So, but the bigger growth actually was corresponding very tightly with the spike itself. So when it's spiking, there are more people registering. So the curve is very similar. Even the Bitcoin price itself, it was kind of warming up before the spike. So the curve is very, very correlated.
CZ, from what you're saying, it sounds very, very bullish. And it sounds like this may be more than just a fake bounce. It sounds like that there are more signups, that there's more money coming into crypto, and that there might be more interest in crypto again.
I certainly hope that's the case, and I personally believe so, but I want to be very careful with what I predict. So I generally don't make too many predictions, but as you said, I'm always bullish.
CZ, let's look at another indicator, and that's of course trading volume. According to CoinMarketCap, the volume in the last few days over the pump was around $80 billion. Now that's about 2.5 times the normal average daily volume. Have you guys seen your volumes on Binance go up by about 2.5 times?
It's going great, actually. So we released the testnet for about 2 months now. We did a massive trading competition on there. We found some issues, fixed it. The team's pretty happy with it right now. We did a lot of security testing as well. So things are progressing very well. And the team's pretty confident they will deploy it in April. It could happen any day now.
CZ, the last couple of conferences that I've been to have been characterized by this undercurrent of, shall we call it, doom and gloom, with people feeling down about the markets and the hustle and bustle's not there, the deals aren't happening. How's the mood this year at Deconomy in Korea?
I think the mood's definitely changed given the recent spike, so that definitely helped the mood. I think everyone I've met are very happy and very bullish, so the mood is definitely different from maybe a couple months ago in some of the conferences. But then again, Koreans are always pretty aggressive and pretty active in the crypto market. So they're one of the most active markets per capita. So yeah, the mood here is very, very active. It's actually it's a big stadium and there was a lot of people.
So you're saying that the mood is very positive. But Neuner got on stage yesterday with Vitalik, and from what I've heard, he wasn't that positive. How did that showdown go down?
So yeah, I was in the front row in the audience when that happened. But I personally don't understand why Neuner would spend like a few days of his life just to attend a conference in an industry that he doesn't approve of. So I don't know why the guy wastes his time if he thinks that crypto is not worth it. So I think he just in that single sense, he's contradicting himself heavily. So I personally never agreed with him, and I fully agree with what Vitalik said. But I think Vitalik's actually not a great debater, to be honest. Vitalik's a very smart guy, very knowledgeable. He was bringing numbers and stuff like that. Like he's a genius, but he's not a guy who's like he's not a natural debater with some guy who doesn't use logic. So I think, to be honest, it's a little bit entertaining, but at the same time, I personally think the debate is a waste of time. It's a total waste of Vitalik's time. So I think Neuner will find himself wrong very soon. I think the time will prove it.
Well, who better to tell him that he's wrong than someone like you who's right there on the ground? Maybe next time they should get you to debate with him. CZ, I think that's a great way to end our conversation. And next up, we're going to be crossing to Adrian Bashuk, who's taking us for a behind-the-scenes look at Deconomy in Korea. So stay tuned.
Steve and Dave use eToro to invest in the financial markets. Steve does research on global investment opportunities. Dave does research on how to become a level 60 wizard. Steve follows the feed for the latest market news. Dave follows the feed for the latest cat videos. Steve has a watch list for promising investments. Dave has a watch list too. So why is Dave just as good an investor as Steve? It's because Dave used eToro's copy trader to automatically replicate Steve's trading activity. Whenever Steve makes a trade, Dave does too. Yes. Trade like a Steve with eToro, the world's leading social trading platform.
The who's who of crypto have descended on South Korea for the annual Deconomy conference. Our crypto trader team has been in Korea all week looking at the events. Let's cross over to our man on the ground, Adrian Bashuk, for a behind-the-scenes look at Deconomy in Korea. Adrian?
Thanks, Fran. We're here in the middle of Seoul, so we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at producing Crypto Trader here at Deconomy. First things first, it's at an arena, which just makes it an interesting location overall. And right away when you walk in, you see that Deconomy is just a different sort of conference. It stands for decentralized economy, and they really stand true to the mission. There are no projects being shilled. There are no founders on stage kind of sharing their wares.
In fact, let's hear from Deconomy's co-founder and organizer for their reasoning.
They cannot advertise their project. We didn't put like blockchain or coin. We don't want to make this conference as sort of shill, let's cheer each other in a bear market, that kind of stuff. We want to have critics and skeptics to come and actually discuss the topic that matters.
producing the show, I'm giving you a look and feel at the conference behind the scenes. We've got Lindsay, our contributor, talking to people about all things market and that recent pump. You're in the studio talking to some of our headliners. Here you do have some projects, GDAC right here, Peer, teams like Circle with their USDC coin. A lot of Korean-centric projects, obviously, Bitsonic, but also some international ones like Orbs, based in Israel. Bizant is a big Korean project, and our set is here at the end. Let's take a look inside. You literally see it's an arena.
Here at Deconomy, we had a slew of headliners hitting the stage. There was the much talked about Vitalik Nouriel debate, which many critiqued for lack of a barb for barb and back and forth debate, and that's okay. Andreas Antonopoulos declared mass adoption of Bitcoin is a matter of, quote, when, not if. But need will first come from, quote, broken financial systems.
Areas of this technology, increasing freedom alone.
CZ was here announcing the imminent launch of Binance DEX, who we'll hear directly from later in the show. Also coming up, Hashed and XRP Capital took the stage to talk all things Asia. And Vitalik's counterpart Joseph Lubin was here, surmising trust in decentralized systems will soon come.
Your personal social networks.
So that's Deconomy.
And now back to you, Ran, in the studio.
So that was Adrian Bashik giving us a behind-the-scenes look at the economy in Korea. And it seems that all the big names in crypto have descended on Korea. One of those big names is, of course, Michael Arrington. He was the founder of TechCrunch and is today running Arrington XRP Capital, a fund that recently announced that it's gone over the $100 million mark. Michael, it seems that as you put on your kit and descended on South Korea, the Bitcoin price went up.
I don't think there's any way to look at it other than there's a direct correlation between me coming to Korea and the Bitcoin price spiking. So no, but obviously not. But we were actually at lunch with one of our portfolio companies having Korean barbecue, Terra, and we got some text messages that the price had moved, and it made the lunch a lot more fun. So it was good. It was good and welcome news.
Mike, do you believe this run, or is this just another bull trap?
I don't know. Am I supposed to know? Can I say two answers and you just pick the one that is right and put that one out? I mean, I'm always wrong. I closed my fund in the first week of January 2018 and then proceeded to invest $100 million going long in the market. So I'm like the last guy you want to ask. I just know that if we put money into the market and hold long enough and make good bets, eventually, hopefully we'll make money for our LPs.
Hopefully. Mike, I read recently that your fund raised more money and that you guys are now managing over $100 million worth of funds. How did you manage to raise more money despite the bear market?
Well, so we lost money last year and did terribly like everyone, but we lost a lot less money than the market did. And so our investors, for some reason, were super happy. And so they gave us a lot more money. They gave us another $30 million at the end of the year. And that was fantastic. And that's it. We did better than the market. That's all you have to do with a hedge fund is do better than the market.
So, Mike, the mood at Deconomy this year, is there that buzz? Are the deals happening?
So there are definitely deals happening, but far fewer than last year. And I think the excitement's there, but the funds like us are spending a lot of our time trading the actual markets now, as opposed to doing new deals. And it's only because there are far fewer quality deals than we saw last year. I think the deals will pick up again. Entrepreneurs will start to build companies because they know they can raise money, and we'll start to see really good deal flow coming in. I mean, there's great deals still being done, but not at the pace of last year.
And the companies that you've invested in, are you seeing that they're moving more into a period of deployment and adoption, or are they still in the development phase?
We're seeing a lot of mainnets, right? You know, when you do these investments, sometimes they go liquid before the mainnet. This is definitely the season of the mainnet right now, and I'd say 4, 5, 6 of our investments from last year are doing mainnets right now or have done them recently. That's very exciting. They get to actually go out there and start testing the technology in the real world, and you know, that's fantastic. Some of our investments are even a slower burn though, and we're looking a year or two out before they're releasing anything.
So, Mike, of the investments that you've made, which are the ones that you're most excited about for 2019?
The problem with this question is whoever I forget to name ends up, because everybody watches your show, ends up, sending out messages to me complaining. But there are some really good investments. In Korea, we're in Korea right now. Our most exciting investment, I think, is Terra. It's a stable coin based in Korea. Fantastic team, Korean founders, but they went to school in the US, came back here, started a company. Really excited about Terra. It's also one of our largest investments. Another investment is Space Mesh in Israel. We're a long way off from Space Mesh going live, but it's one of our largest investments, and we're really excited about it. And we're starting to deploy more capital in the US, but these are more equity deals than token deals because, as you know, the SEC is a total disaster. And so, we avoid a lot of the token deals in the US.
Now, Mike, speaking of our good friends at the SEC, they've published some ICO guidelines. What are your thoughts on what they've published? Some of the critics out there have said that it's nothing more than a load of regurgitated hogwash.
Yeah, I haven't read the paper yet. We actually was 2 days ago, right? And so I've been too busy here. I've only read a couple tweets summarizing it, so I actually can't really speak to it.
That's Michael Arrington coming to us from Deconomy in South Korea. And with Michael Arrington, you can always trust him to tell it to you as it is. Another guy that always gets direct and straight to the point is, of course, our good friend Richard Hart, the crypto billionaire who bought his Bitcoin at $50. Rich, do you believe that this bounce is the real thing?
I think that this could be the beginning of the end. I don't think this is the end. We don't do V-bottoms because there's so much more economic mass now that, even in the past, the last bear market, we had a capitulation candle, a good bounce, chopped around for a while horizontally, 40 to 120 days. And then we had another capitulation wick. Even in the biggest bull run of all time, we still get 30 to 40% drops. And, the futures markets don't believe in this rally. Right now, there's no premium on futures anywhere. There's a $30 premium on the next 3 months of futures that are expiring. So this isn't a rally that traders bought, or you'd see inflation in products that traders buy, such as BitMEXC futures, like what you might buy from richardhart.win, my affiliate link, lol, 10% discount, or what you would buy at CME, which is doing all-time volume now. CME just did $500 million of volume, like April 2nd, April 3rd, and BitMEXC did $5 billion, but that's still a lot. $500 million on a cash-settled product in the largest market in the world is great. Institutions could FOMO harder now and easier now than they ever could before. So if we don't have the bull run immediately, when we do have it, maybe come October, it's going to be fabulous.
So are you expecting another capitulation candle to follow?
I do. I think we will. The question is, do we make a lower low or not? So we get capitulation candles all the time of 30 to 40% in crypto, all the time in Bitcoin. So there's really no reason that I see for that to stop. The only reason I could see for that to stop would be so many institutional players are getting in that it reduces the volatility a bit, and we would see premiums on the institutional products, which we don't see right now.
I take it you're not a buyer at these levels.
I will buy the next capitulation wick. I think that this is the beginning of the end. So, I would dollar cost average in 4K, 4,200 down to 3K probably.
Wow, that sounds quite scary. It means that we could go down as quickly as we went up. Now, Rich, you sent us this chart, but this chart is not a new chart. It's a chart that you published a year ago.
Yeah. So, history tends to repeat itself. The best chart to give you an idea of what Bitcoin will do is what Bitcoin has done. So the last bear market lasted 622 days, and we had a retest of the very lows. And we didn't make a lower low, but we almost did for about a 122-day window where we stopped declining, had our bounce, chopped around a bit, had another capitulation wick, and it was a decision point there. Is this really the last, final generational bottom where you're not going to be able to buy this price again? And it was, right? It didn't make a lower low, but you did have a horizontal period of about 120 days where you had multiple opportunities to buy near the bottom, right? So when a bear market ends, you don't get an instant bull market. You do have a horizontal period of chopping about to buy, and this would be the beginning of that period. And you could also see that we had a fake out of the 5,200-day golden cross in the last bear market as well. And if you bought that fake out, you got wrecked shortly thereafter by about 30 or 40%. So no, I'm not buying someone's 30% a day candle. I'm not buying 93 RSI, the highest 12-hour RSI the chart's ever seen in, 4 or 5 years. No, I'm not buying that. I'll buy it when it looks bad.
Rich, are we at that cross again? Are we at the point where we're about to come down?
A lot of people misunderstand that. A 50 to 200 golden cross, 50-day moving average golden cross over the 200-day, it requires the averages to cross. Now, we've had a price cross, but the price is not the average. So right now, the price is higher than the average. And back when we had our death cross, we actually pumped on the death cross because it matters where the cross occurs in relationship to the actual price. And if the price is far away from the cross, it tends to revert to the mean. So if you buy a golden cross that's already very high over the crossing point, you're likely to get wrecked. Or if you sell a death cross that's already very low compared to the crossing point, you're also likely to get wrecked.
Okay, so you're saying that if you buy now, you're likely to get wrecked.
Depends on what you're buying. If you're buying, I mean, we've had 3x in Bcash, we've had 2x in Ethereum. You know, there are altcoins that are showing multiple X's of performance. I'm just talking to you about Bitcoin right now.
So to be clear, if you're buying Bitcoin now, you're likely to get wrecked.
Yeah, don't buy 12-hour 92 RSI or daily 85 RSI. You're always going to get a 30 or 40% drop. You're the stupid money. You're buying the wick. You'll be the wick. Now, if you hold long enough, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can buy Bitcoin anywhere you want. And if you hold 3 years, you're going to make money and hit all-time highs again if the chart keeps doing what it has done for the last 10 years. But why not get an extra 2 times on your money by buying it a little cheaper, you know? What's the rush? Like, you think this is the last dip? There's no more dips? No, you're going to get dips. It doesn't go up in a straight line.
Wow, so it sounds like Richard Hart is anything but convinced about this bounce. Let's cross over to Deconomy, to our CNBC contributor, Lindsay Ju, to find out what the traders on the floor are thinking about this bounce.
Thanks, Ran. We're here. Adrian took us behind the scenes at Deconomy, and now we're here to talk to the experts. Why the market pumped last week? Let's find out.
First off, we spoke to 24 experts, and consensus says no one truly knows why. But we got excellent insight from funds to founders to maximalists, and even, yes, skeptics.
What about the recent pump? What do you think of what's going on in the market?
I think there's a lot of explanations. Maybe someone who's out there who's taking a big position, and I think that's triggered a lot of like technical types of squeezes out there. At the same time, I do think that it's followed on by a lot of genuine, authentic interest in taking positions. I know that I've been stacking up my Bitcoin position over the last couple months, believing that while the bottom isn't completely in, we might be near it.
If we look at the crypto prices, it's been slowly picking up, and it kind of mirrors last year's Deconomy. If you do think about it, prices kind of went up during Deconomy season.
Why do you think the recent pump happened?
People just coming back around to the idea that Web3 will be an incredibly important technology. The idea of taking back control of our data, of our privacy, of our financial accounts, and ultimately our freedom online is incredibly important and incredibly valuable.
What about the recent pump? Do you have any thoughts on that and what you saw with the market?
And a lot of that, I think, is due to the lack of transparency in the market, exchanges without regulation, people who control the exchanges who have no responsibility to any government anywhere. There was nothing fundamental. There was no major institutional money coming in or anything like that. It was simply a pump that probably triggered a lot of stop losses from short positions. Then you'll see retail jump in and try to FOMO and pump it a little bit more, but I don't think it's really anything meaningful.
Maybe it was the conference that had people's guards up, because at the OSL Base 16 Genesis Block after party, we got the long and short of it from some of Asia's top trading minds, starting with head traders at Genesis Block and OSL. You'll really want to hear their answers. Listen up.
Why do you think that the pump is happening?
Nobody knows, right? But let's just put it this way. There were a lot of heads up from, I guess, whales or people connected to whales saying that something was going to happen soon. My personal guess would be a lot to do with the mining space. So they're buying up these second-hand rigs for very cheap. They're looking at summer electricity prices, which actually falls in China. So they're actually incentivized to kind of drive this.
What attributes to that uptick?
A lot of thoughts that there may have been sort of some liquidity squeezes going on, where there was a lot of very desperate buyers and not a lot of liquidity being provided sell side, but it's hard to say for sure.
And what do you think about the recent pump?
My 2 cents is I don't think it was a coincidence that the 3 exchanges that were involved in the price lift to initiate the whole move was a constituent of the BitMEXC index. Personally, we're a huge fan, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was an accident.
I mean, was it the water? Is it the kimchi? Is it coming from Korea?
I think it's the kimchi. It must be the kimchi, right? And the ginseng, oh my goodness.
The kimchi made us hot, so we stepped outside where even Kakao's blockchain head seems a bit bullish.
Any thoughts on the recent market uptick?
I wish I had bought a bit more before, but projects are getting good, awareness is spreading. I think there's just been consolidation at these levels where now there's just going to be more buyers than sellers, very simply said.
The bear market had played out a very large cycle. You know, we saw a lot of consolidation around the $3,000 to $4,000 range for a while. I don't have a narrative for it, but I think it was just time.
The last 2 months of run-ups in alts and just the pop in Bitcoin just like last week, I think it's been pretty good in terms of getting the mainstream eyeballs back into crypto. Overall positive, but I think the bear market is still lingering on the population.
A lot of FOMO is happening again, and I really just got to, I'm a bit concerned with the retail chasing this, and I think this kind of pattern needs to change. Yeah.
To what?
To where people invest in things they understand.
So understand, do your research, and like these traders say, don't FOMO in. Ran, back to you in the studio.
Next up, we cross over to a very special guest on our show. Big Cheds is a longtime friend of Crypto Trader. In fact, the last time we saw him, he was recovering from cancer. He beat cancer, and a short while later, his mom was diagnosed with cancer. Big Cheds lost his mom on the 7th of March. Cheds, welcome back to Crypto Trader. You've had some bad luck of late.
Hey, Rand, I appreciate that. Life is kind of a mixed bag, but all we can do is make the best of it. And many of you have been very gracious with your kind thoughts. So I want to say thank you for that. And definitely thank you for having me here on the show. I'm really excited.
Well, it's great to hear that you're in such good spirits. Cheds, do you believe that this bounce is real?
I think it definitely has potential to be real, and I think it's important to start out with a big picture view, my friend. In front of us, we have the weekly chart on the Bitstamp exchange, and I think it's important to point out we clearly have found support at this blue line, the 200-period moving average. We found support there twice back in 2015, in June and in September. And of course, we had that magnificent run to 20K. And initially, we tried to find a little bit of support around 6K, but that failed. And we found support at the blue line, the 200-period moving average. So if you were a genius, you would have sold at 20K, bought back at the 200 moving average. I'm not quite a genius, but I can see it now in hindsight. Therefore, it's important to recognize that. And also, I think it's important to look at here in the weekly chart. We have the green and the yellow line, a couple exponential moving averages. We see back in 2015 when we found support, we initially had a failed cross of the 8 and the 34, and then we had that bull cross around November of 2015. The reason I point that out is it looks like we may be heading towards that bull cross again, Rand, with the green line crossing over the yellow, and that really would signify a strong indication that we're going to have that next leg.
So, Cheds, are you buying at these levels?
I am personally not buying at this level. I want to see, I'm a little bit more of a conservative trader. I like to see a pullback to support and another higher low established. For me, I'm a value trader, so I like to look for a little bit more clear picture. I would potentially buy on a new bull break, but right now we have a period of consolidation. There's a lot of stop loss hunting. We have these big upper and lower shadows. So I think it's important. I preach caution right here. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. But I want to point out, if you don't mind going to that second chart, my friend, I think it's important to point out that Litecoin really has started the party for us. On all four of the major coins I have in front of you, they essentially all found their bottoms around the middle of December, 2018. Litecoin has consistently put in higher lows. Bitcoin tried to do it. Bitcoin failed, but Litecoin has just kept on going. And we also see the higher highs as well. So I think we need to give a little bit of props here to our friend Litecoin. It's really been starting the party off for us.
Now, Cheds, if you were going to buy one of the 4 coins that you sent us in the charts, Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Bitcoin Cash, which one would you buy?
Which one would I buy? Given that Litecoin's been the strongest, I would probably have to continue to buy Litecoin on a pullback. A general rule of charting is when the bulls are in charge, when you have a powerful trend, whatever force is behind it, you have to assume that force will continue until proven otherwise. So Litecoin being the strongest trend, I would be looking to buy Litecoin on a pullback. But I think it's worth looking at some levels here on Bitcoin as well. Potentially, if we want to take a look at the third chart, You know, a Bitcoin usually has led the way, even though Litecoin, you know, is the boss right now. I think if you look at our third chart here on Bitcoin, you know, what we're seeing is a period of very nice consolidation after our April 2nd move. Now, I'm a Japanese candlestick trader, and one thing that Japanese candlestick analysis teaches us is the size of the real candle body of that April 2nd candle and the volume behind it suggests continuation. Now, we've already had a little bit of bullish continuation with that A candlestick, which is a long-legged doji, and then also as well a little bit more of that after that fact. But we can look at the B as well, the high wave spinning tops. These are consolidation candles, indecision candles. We are in the midst of a bullish continuation, a bullish consolidation pattern on Bitcoin. You may want to know where's the support. Clearly, the 8 EMA, the green line, has served as support. But what candlestick theory teaches us, if we fail this 8 EMA, if that fails to hold as support, we're going to be looking to that 44.50 level. The midpoint of that green candle should be support on a pullback. But right now, it looks like the bulls are squarely in control. So we're going to be looking for some of our targets. If we can clear this most recent resistance, the top of that long-legged doji, candle A, we can see where I've marked resistance from November 18th of 2018, that 5650 area. So when the price dropped from 6K Rand, you know, we tried to bounce. It was twice rejected at 5650. So that's an area we're going to watch. And if the bulls have enough power, and of course, we're going to be watching the volume on any break. But if the bulls have enough power, there's a $400 pocket straight up to 60.55. So I'm excited by what's going on. And I think people who are smart enough to load a few weeks or a few months ago are really feeling comfortable right now.
And Cheds, why weren't you smart enough to load up a week ago or say a few months ago?
Well, I didn't load as much as I wanted to. I'm definitely a cautious trader. And I'll tell you why. On that second chart that I showed before with the higher lows, when Bitcoin broke down and Bitcoin lost that higher low, I actually expected Litecoin to continue because I said before, you know, Bitcoin's been the leader in the market. But I was a little taken aback by the fact that Litecoin continued to put in higher lows. You know, Litecoin had the inverted head and shoulders that played out. Bitcoin failed. Ethereum failed. Bitcoin Cash failed. So I was, you know, 3 of those 4 major coins had failed. So I didn't load up nearly as much as I wanted to. I'll be completely honest.
All right, well, I'm interested to see whether our viewers would rather buy Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin Cash based on what you've said here tonight. Cheds, thank you very much for coming on our show. We wish you all the strength and all the luck in the world. And so it seems that everyone is not that convinced about the bounce. I guess we'll have to wait until next week to see if we can cross that $6,200 level that Vinny alluded to. Tell us whether you'd be buying Litecoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, or Ethereum on my Twitter account because I'm interested to see the results. I'll see you again next week. Until then, I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun, and you should trade well, my friends.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.